Test telephone switch to arm light on.
Switching command to internal. Fuel tank pressure. 9, 8, ignition. Maintain. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Fuel tank pressure.
It is week 2 of Division 1 of the CSC Challenger Series in Season 8. We're going to the stars. I'm Sean Green, joined by my partner in comms this evening, Mr. Nick Dirachi to share. Nick, first of all, it's always great to see your face. It's always great to hear your voice, but seeing your face is always a win for everybody on the stream, especially because it's not Will's face, which is automatically
my face is in space, so that's something.
Wait. You're from a galaxy far, far away, so this works out perfectly for you, my friend. Listen, speaking of galaxies far, far away, and we talked about aliens during the CSC selection show, we got a couple of them tonight. Rick Henze, the big lefty juggernaut, is taking on Bubba, which is, I've learned, an ironic nickname in Bryan Bigham. Big Ham, I get it from the last name, but he is a bub on the dartboard, and I have not done commentary on him before. You have. I'm excited to see him play tonight.
Yeah, Bryan was my dark horse pick for the season. I said it in the selection show, and he messaged me when I said it. I know there's a lot of potential with his game, and I'm really excited to see if he's able to bring his best in the CSC Challenger Series. But he is going up against one of the most seasoned pros of our show, not only just from playing all those seasons, but 11 streamed matches. This makes number 12 for Rick Henze. He is not going to be feeling the heat because of the streaming cameras, and if you have the name like Bubba, you shouldn't feel much pressure in the world. You should be pretty relaxed, but of course comes down to what happens at the Aki, right?
Well, it's a different audience in the CSC Challenger Series than he's ever been in front of before. Obviously a lot of the similarities, right, with the bullshooter streams, but this is a little bit different. It's prime time. This is Monday Night Football for darts. So you're here to see this match. Rick Henze's been here now for the 12th time on Monday Night Football. It's the first time for Bryan, and we'll see how that affects things. I think once like leg 2 or 3 kicks in, it doesn't matter anymore, right? The nerves are gone, but leg 1, leg 2 can be shaky for our newcomers to the stream.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say I feel like a newcomer to being on camera because I completely am so used to be the producer. I just took a drink out of my drink while we're doing our opener. I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here.
I've been staring at the camera the whole time and not even you. Gosh,
that's so good. I just literally just took a sip out of nowhere. No, I'm looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and get into the tail of the tape. Tell us about our 2-time finalists here.
Yeah, the juggernaut from Midwest Coin. He's playing out of Little Falls, Minnesota at Carrie's Bar. He's been playing darts for 16 plus years, which he got into darts pretty late then in his career to get to that point. Must be nice to still be awesome. Averaging a 5.36 heading into this. You will notice that him and Bubba's averages are very close. His win rate is a 90.9, which actually is the same as Bubba's. Just for some reason, it counted something differently for Bubba's, but Bubba also won 9-1. So they both have that same score. Yeah, it was the diddle that was different, but they both have 90% win rates. They're the top 2 in that, with Ram as the third. He's throwing those Winmore Rick Henze 19-gram darts that are oh so pretty and oh so sweet.
Yeah, and again, Rick Henze, we talked about a super experienced playing in this format, super experienced playing on the show. And frankly, we kind of had the conversation dominate about Tyler Henze in the last 2 seasons. Rick Henze was the original dominant force. It was him, Kenny Doyle, Leonard Gates as the original dominant forces in the show. And I'm curious to see if we're going to get that Rick Henze back tonight. It's been a little bit since we've seen him perform the way we know he can on the live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he's coming into this with 7 9 marks, 6 9 marks, and 1 white horse. 21 7 marks in 10 games played is a lot of 7 marks for only 10 games, and then 17 5 marks. That's a lot of pressure to put on your opponent. But he's going up against Bryan Bubba Bigham, who had himself a fantastic opening week in the CSC last week.
Yeah, Brian goes by Bubba. Of course, just good old boy from West Virginia for Derek Music Company, playing out VFW 9097. He's been playing for 12 plus years now. He averages a 5.27. So again, just a little bit below Rick's average. But when you get a 9-1 result and like your opponent did, it's the same difference. And then again, 81.8% run rate, but that's only counting the diddle. Throwing the next gen darts, Relic 18 gram. That is his signature line. So both these players throwing their own signature darts. And again, Brian has been consistently averaging well. There was one man he was losing to last time I commentated him, and it was Mike Porterfield. And no one's going to fault you for that. So I'm curious to see if he's going to bring out that kind of performance here again.
Is that how Relic is spelled?
That's how he spelled
like
it to me.
Life?
No, not in real life.
I know. I just don't know. I mean, I could see how it would go both ways. Like, 'cause some people would put the T accidentally on Relic. So I could see that being like a typical spelling. I'm just curious. That's just the English teacher me. I don't care. I know you did everything right. That's not the point. He's also
triple checked for no typos
my
after
bad.
last week.
I know.
But
I wasn't calling you out for that. I promise. It was not to call you out. It was just a English teacher and me wondering if there's 2 spellings of that word. My bad. He's throwing also, he has 1 9 mark, 1 white horse. So not too many booms out of Brian in week 1 with that 5.27 average. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, very interesting. But again, when you have a dominant kind of match, it's very hard to get true stats out of it, right? You have to be pushed pretty equal to be able to say, okay, this is what they actually shot under the pressure and whatnot. Not saying that he didn't feel the pressure, but he definitely felt comfortable in that performance. And I'm curious to see if that's going to be able to channel it here. I think tonight's going to be a lot of fireworks. I think this is going to be either a Rick Henze redemption arc or a Bryan Bigham stamp on his run in the season 8. And it's going to be curious to see who comes on top. This one, a lot of people are saying it's too close to call. I think that's a fair analysis.
I would agree with you. That being said, I'm going to call it 9-7 Rick Henze. And I'm going to put you on the spot to call it too, because we're not fence sitters over here.
No, I'm not. I will, for the record, take 9-7 Bubba. He is my dark horse.
That's fair. So again, we have it going very close overall, and excited to see. They both had dominating week 1s. So for them to come back and have a dogfight on their hands this evening, it's a whole different ball game, buddy. And I cannot wait. I'm excited to be here. Let's go over the format and specific rules of the CSC Challenger Series. If you have never watched before, welcome. It's about time. Bring your friends. Okay. It's going to be a good time tonight. But it is a double elimination style tournament. The players will play a race to 9, best of 17 legs, all cricket, with a cork or 3-dart count up to start that match. That's what we're seeing here currently. The loser of the previous leg will start the next leg after that. And if either player is down 3 or more legs, they will continue to go first until that deficit is reduced to 2 legs. That is the PBD player advantage rule that I don't think we're going to see tonight, my friend. And if we go the distance,
we go for speed.
The players will cork for start in the last leg decider. You were a little bit slow on that, but you made up for it in your excitement.
I love saying the line.
The winner of this overall tournament is $4,500 to first place. I don't care who you are. That's some good money. Well, unless you're one of those 1%, like, you know what I'm saying. For most people, it's really, really good money. And we all that are sitting here would love to have it. Let's talk real quick. Leonard Gates out of the CSC Challenger Series already. 2 and out for Leonard. I'm going to guess this week had a little bit to do with the schedule. I do not know that for sure. So do not hold me to that. But I know he is overseas still playing Modus this week. So I'm going to guess that had a little bit to do with it. Mike Maloney had the highest week 1 average, and then he kind of dropped back down to earth in week 2. But Danny Baggish, how about this? 5.68 in week 1, 5.60 week 2.
Very solid, very consistent darts from the gambler, despite the situation, despite not being able to practice and saying all of the practices in his own head. Clearly, his mental game has been stronger than the rest of ours, if that's the results you're able to produce. I do want to say, by the way, this is our first time having cameras in West Virginia as a whole. I do know that
Mountain
it might be a little. It might be a little laggy, but we're going to try our best to make sure we show off the beautiful new faces joining the PPD streaming network.
We're in those fine country roads for once. Mike Maloney goes back to Earth 588. Listen, I actually don't know what you shot. I just knew it was great. I just wanted to discredit you a little bit just to turn you a little green, maybe. I don't know. Just poke the bear. That's what I'm trying to do.
The new expectation for Mike is a 6.7. If you don't shoot it,
yeah,
we don't want to hear about it. Only some stats matter with you now, not all stats.
All right, so far, Rick's the one coming out slow.
Yeah,
and
ice
Bryan
cold
firing
one
out of the gate.
Yeah, it's going to be, you saw in the diddle, was not very tight darts. He's been there for a couple hours because he got there for Tyler Henze's match. So he's been hanging out, throwing every now and again. Did not get to see because Tyler was playing on the stream board, so I didn't actually get to watch his warm-up. But I can tell you, he's going to be not too worried about it. He's going to laugh it off like he just did there. You know who I'm excited more and more about, by the way, Sean, for next season, even though it's crazy to say we're only in week 2 of this season?
Who?
Jeff Springer. I see him in the chat right now, but I saw Christian Broussard post their league from the other night, and disgusting, dirty darts. I'm excited to see him in the mix.
That dude has turned into a dude. I'm telling you what. I think that I think he's a top 5 CDC finisher this season on tour. I think he definitely has that potential this season. He's just been getting better and better and making deeper and deeper runs. And he's learning how to win those tournaments and those tough matches, which is a whole different skill. So I'm excited for big things for him this year. I think it's going to be good.
I think so too. We were already impressed with him over in WDF, Las Vegas Open. And it's just going to be an interesting player to watch continue to develop. By the way, Mike Maloney saying that he's in Florida right now did not hit me up once. Really messed up.
Wow.
I would have loved to give you a tour. Could have gotten some free tickets in one of the parks, but you didn't ask. I'm going to save those for the first commenter. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not giving away Universal tickets today.
James Davison, Don Stewart won last week against Leonard Gates. I do not know how he's done tonight. That I can tell you. We mentioned Denny Baggish earlier, and I do want to give a huge shout out to the dart community as Bryan Bigham's going to win this first leg with a double 5-2-9 opening leg for Bigham. Never mind about anything I said. Bubba is just a dude, man. It doesn't matter if he's on this camera or any other camera. He's just a dude.
He's just a dude.
That's how you get the nickname Bubba. I'm telling you what. But huge shout out, standing ovation. The True and Baggish raffle has so far raised $14,650. That's insane. I actually talked to Danny on the phone today, and he continues to mention his gratitude, and it's really cool. Truin is in good spirits, but all that money is going to very much help in this devastating situation. But you too can join us in supporting this family during their time of need. Make a donation for Truin through the PPD sweepstakes registration and be entered to win a G3 Ice dartboard from the 2024 Tournament of Champions. All proceeds will be sent directly to Danny. You can register starting at 8 p.m. Central last week, and the winner will be drawn this Wednesday, right at the start of our stream, it looks like. So you're going to want to tune in at that point. Yeah, it says winner to be drawn February 26th at 8 p.m. Central. So there you go.
I guess we're doing the drawing live.
So that's what it says. Now, that's subject to change based on what Nick says after the show. So
no, we're doing it live. I decided that now.
Yeah. Oh, good. But excited for everything that everyone's been able to do, and it's exciting to see all the pictures of Truan smiling, because that's been a really cool thing through all this. And so, Danny, well, I love you, and he wants to thank everybody for everything. It definitely means the world to them.
And shout out to everybody in the community again. I mean, you guys are awesome to be able to rally behind. With Danny and Truan helping raise money for that cause, but it's not the first cause I've seen the community band together over. I mean, even like Crystal Buns, which is
times.
It is phenomenal to see everyone rally behind and really make the community feel like a family. And appreciate each and every one of you guys on that.
Yeah, Crystal might be one of my all-time favorite humans in the world. So, just as a bright light in any room that she walks into, and very, very awesome human. So, and also a tough fighter that we've seen. So, hope she's doing well. She's both of them are always in our thoughts during this time. Rick Henze, still high ground here in leg number 2. This is Division 1 of the CSC Challenge Series. I saw this from some guys jumping in here. 2 of the top averages, 2 of the top 7 averages, I think, this season from week 1.
Yeah,
and I remember Carrie's bar was turned last time we had Carrie's bar on stream. There are people walking around in the background just trying to get on camera.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the awesome nationals stuff. Or also triples, because they were going crazy back there.
Wait a second. What? Oh, wait, this is the one with the hot dog girl.
Yeah, hot dog girl was there, and then there was also the pole punchers, where everyone kept hitting the pole and shaking the camera.
Stupid pole. And Rick leans against the pole, by the way.
I think after the first time he did on stream, he kind of chilled out a little bit about how aggressive he was. Because I remember one time he didn't even punch the pole; he just kind of put his fist there, just like de-stressing, and the whole thing shook. And he's like, "Oh,
he's the juggernaut." Look at this from Bryan. Oh, Bubba gets the trip 1 on dart 3. It would have only been an 8 mark anyway, but it would have been sweet.
In Ohio, at the Ohio bullshooter stop, Bubba came up to me and in passing, I'm like running in between matches. He's like, "Nick, quick question." I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "What does Gordon Dixon call those plaques again?" And I said, "Gourmet firewood." He said, "Thank you." And they walked away. So I just want to say, I've never had a non-pleasurable interaction with either one of these guys, but especially Bryan.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
And then, funnily enough, in Pennsylvania, the weekend after, I picked up a set of Rick Henze darts finally for my collection.
That's awesome. I saw the interaction. He needs to sign those bad boys for you.
Yep, that's what he said.
Which makes sense. Brad, she's the one who's shooting on the board next to Rick, right? Isn't that hot dog girl? I think it is. Which is amazing, because I definitely did not remember that until Brad mentioned it. She was there. Awesome. I'm sorry that she's known as Hot Dog Girl. Someone tell her that I apologize again for mentioning that.
I went to a hot dog restaurant today, by the way. I know no one cares. I'm going to tell you about it.
Portillo's is a thing.
No, I went to the hot dog dispensary. It is like, literally they sell hot dogs. Like that is, it's not what you think. It is literally, they dispense out hot dogs to the masses, and it was delicious. That's all you guys need to know. There was no other content there.
Okay. Do we have a Boom Goes Dynamite and I missed it?
I don't think so. I was talking about hot dogs, so I wasn't looking.
And I was watching you talk about hot dogs, so I was.
Why were you watching me talk about hot dogs?
Because it was a weird story, so I had to make sure I was paying attention. Only a 3 mark for Bryan.
Chat will keep us honest. Back to the match. Thanks, Tyler.
Rick, man, nothing in between. A 4.8 to a 4.89. and they were extremely tied up going into this. Bryan, an opportunity now to at least extend or give that point lead back. Do you steal the 15s on dart 3 if you hit 2 trip 16s?
No, only because the 18s are there. You're just giving them a free shot to close your 16s. It doesn't really help you as much. If you hit trip 16, and you close the 18s, and they can go for the 15 and get a free shot. If you close the 15s, you pretty much downgrade your own number. So it's not worth the risk in that given scenario. Like right here, this is a better situation because you're 4-3 on the bulls, which means that if you can either start the bull, if you hit, you can move, or you can pretty much get yourself a point lead shot and potentially give yourself a game winner on the next go. So I like this position better for Bryan.
Hey, look at this. We got the Indiana State singles Masters champion in the chat, Jason Watt, saying, "Where's Willionaire?" And that's a hilarious nickname, and he would hate that. So I'm going to go with that from now on.
Oh, that's awesome.
William Air. You know, he's too rich for us now, so he can't. There's hot.
Really ain't got time for that.
Sitting down now in the sweatshirt. I was wrong. Now I recognize it. Thanks, Brad, for bringing her over. Brad's in the hat, I believe. But Rick Henze wins leg number 2.
Yeah,
but
1-1.
That's awesome. The steel tip, soft tip crossover and being able to do both as well as you are right now is awesome to see.
Happy to have taught you pretty much everything you know.
Oh, there's Will.
Hey,
he did have a
the Willionaire. Let's go. Upper tax bracket.
Oh, only a 7. Brad, I'm Sean. I'm the one with the good voice is me, is Sean.
And the one that sounds like a SpongeBob vocal impersonator is me.
That's Nick. Yep.
I'm just so curious to see if this match is going to go long distance. And I say that because Rick Henze in his CSC history has not had many matches that were particularly short. In his 11 streamed matches, he had 2 matches that were 9-3, both of those being wins. One over Ram Guevara in season 2, by the way, is a 9-3 win, the 4th place. As we get a
boom goes the dynamite for the West Virginian Mountain Mama.
Take Me Home Country Road. But otherwise, all of his matches have been, majority of them have been 9-6 wins. The second most common scoreline for him was 9-8s. So he has had multiple across his 11. 6 wins, 5 losses, 4 losses to Leonard Gates, 1 loss to Ram in season 7.
Listen, if you're going to lose to somebody over and over again, it might as well be Leonard Gates. That's definitely a doable person to lose to over and over and over again. As Rick, not going to find his first yet. He's still looking for his after, and we're in leg number 3. That's not like the Juggernaut.
Juggernaut's still not in full gear. I mean, 3.6 first leg, 4.97 second leg, and that's a 4.97 that he saved by throwing real strong towards the end. It's going to be something where he needs to start off legs a little bit stronger, because right now, 3 numbers up, Bubba's going to be able to continue to do some damage here. As again, there will be some lag on his side. Just want to let you guys know.
Yep, Mountain Mama.
Lori asking,
you know what
Oh, yes?
No, go ahead. No, you say that first.
I was just going to say real quick, Lori asking, is this on YouTube? Yes, USA Darts and Partners for Darts always cross streams over to YouTube as well when we are live. I will say, if you guys did not see my post the other day, any Facebook live stream that is just only lived on Facebook will be deleted in about the next month or so. So if you know somebody that owns a streaming page of some kind, make sure to let them know to go. They have an option to be able to back up all those different matches, streams, and everything. In fact, because of this, I decided to go and back up one of the lost seasons of the CSC, and should be finding a new home online, so you can actually see what it was like pre-2020, pre us being involved as well. Well, I was kind of there, but you guys weren't.
You mean like all the people watching, or just me?
No,
You said
you
guys. So
Yeah, well, Will was
just
here. Will Eater is here in spirit.
my many personalities. I get it. What's up, guys? Will Stewart here. No, that was terrible.
Was he your Mr. Beast impersonation? What was that?
I don't. Who's that?
You know who Mr. Beast is?
I know that's not the point. Anyway, back to the match. Rick
Back to the
Henze means
match.
a lot. They're on a 5-2, but Bryan is going to take that 2-1 lead. Again, just erase everything that I said at the beginning of the stream. It's not smart stuff anyway tonight. But what I was going to say is Bryan's been impressive as he does take out that one. 5.84. And actually, I forget entirely what I was going to say, but that's okay.
I mean, it was a good save. You had me fooled. And currently, Bryan.
I know, but then I couldn't remember it. Couldn't remember it at the same time.
Bryan's finding his range exactly where he wants to be early on. He averaged in a 5. Both these guys were basically 5.3s in week 1. Right now, after 3 games, he's at a 5.38. But Rick Henze about 0.8 below that margin at a 4.47.
Yeah, but again, he didn't get to warm up really beforehand on this board. You've said that now a couple of times, so it does matter. It doesn't matter how often you play a place. Like when I go to a blind draw, still I want to get there a good hour beforehand, and I just go to a corner at a board by myself, unless someone that wants to play with me wants to play a couple matches. But I just want to sit there and play 0-1, warm up on there, and then hit a lot of bowls until I feel good about that, and then I'm going to play a couple games of quickie cricket just to get my targets on that, and then I feel good. But I have to do that. If I go in there 10 minutes before the start time, I'm panicking, and I know that I'm going to be terrible to start off the match.
Yeah. Oh, I used to be I could go to the bar, give me 15 minutes, and I'm ready to go. Especially before I drank and I was a youth player. But nowadays, even on days where I play sober, if I don't warm up for at least an hour, I don't feel ready for my match, if not more, which is funny because, I mean, Bryan, I don't think he showed up to his bar till about 30 minutes before the match, or at least I did not see him there until 30 minutes before the match. Again, Rick was there. He was throwing on the sideboard. I do think that playing on the sideboard versus the stream board is probably the same difference in a location like that. So I don't know how much that's weighing on his mind, but I do know if there's one thing that this man's saying is I'm hankering for a good result on the stream. I'm tired of it being the Tyler Henze show when there's multiple Henzes in the family, and Carr is the best one.
Well, I mean, obviously a saint. Rick and Tyler come off as super sweet, and then they become friends, and then they are just mean people. Tyler keeps trying to poke you with his one big finger, and it just never works. And then Rick is he's hilarious. Actually, Rick is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
He is.
But yeah, what I was going to say is that Bryan is obviously the different type of person, and I'm kind of that way in golf. I used to be a scratch golfer, and I would play in tournaments, and because during the tournaments I would show up an hour and a half early and hit balls in the range, but I was always a first person off the tee. As we get a boom goes the dynamite from Rick Henze. First person off the tee type of person. So I would just show up and play. And then I realized just do that in tournaments. And I became a lot better tournament player after that. I used to suck when I played in tournaments because I'd warm up for an hour and a half, and then it was not good. Are we going to get back to back?
The suspense of the lag.
No. But a good 7. Again, we are in West Virginia for the first time. Troy Leroy, West Virginia, the song Country Road, Take Me Home to the Place Where I Belong. That's West Virginia. Okay. That's we're in the Mountain Mamas. So it's going to be a little bit laggy. But yeah, Big Ham Bryan, AKA Bubba. And you have to be from a mountain state to be nicknamed Bubba, or you have to be a large human being. You can see that it's the other way for Bryan.
It's not short.
Well, I just mean Bubbas are usually fluffier human beings.
No, for sure. As this is definitely a better start to a leg here for Rick. But Bryan equally matching the energy, it seems. You can see Rick's definitely starting to stroke him way better than he was at the start here. You're going to be fine with results like this.
I had to that time. Sorry.
Is that right?
No, I didn't have to, but it was funny. Someone was going to, so it might as well have been me. All right, anyway.
Oh, good 7 there for Bryan. Yeah. Continuing to lay the heat on against the darts in a leg where Rick Henze is not throwing slack at all.
It's almost like death of 1,000 sevens. But Rick fires back a 7 of his own. The problem is the high ground favors Bryan.
Well, and this is probably his best opportunity yet to get a shot at those 18s. He is typically a little bit more conservative player. Nothing too crazy. It's honestly pretty straightforward dart strategy. No real tricks in Bryan's book. Might take the look on the last. He is. And hits it. Good shot there.
6.71 in this leg against the throw of Rick Henze. Yeah, the Juggernaut better start running through some triples.
Now, of course, a lot of people started talking about Bryan recently because of his run in Pennsylvania, playing against Porterfield, having those games. But honestly, the first time I met and really talked with him was before the Invitational Shootout this last go-around. And his matches when he played out there as well were just very impressive. He's just one of those guys that, honestly, I haven't seen him throw a lot of like high 6, high 7 games, but I think he is like how we described Kenny Doyle, especially a couple of years ago, was always in that mid 5 range that occasionally would just ramp it up even more. There's not too many stinker legs out of him.
Yeah, which is always annoying for your opponent. If you're always having to shoot well to win legs against your opponent every time, that becomes a more tiring affair. It's always nice to get like a little breather leg out of a team or out of a person. So when that's not happening because the person's that consistent, Bryan finished extremely well at the Bullshitter Invitational last year, correct?
He did not get to top 4, but he had a pretty decent mid-bracket run. I would have to look, but I do recall. I mean, he got some results out there.
Daniel, we know West Virginia has Wi-Fi. We're not talking about the whole state. We're obviously just worried about where Bryan's located.
Actually, I'm surprised. I did not know that West Virginia had Wi-Fi. When did you guys get that? Have you guys caught up on Severance? It's really good.
I think John Denver made him famous, and then they were able to get it, which is actually impressive because that's way before some other people. Bryan continues to just punish on those closes. Big darts. Murphy darts even talking West Virginia right now. Sorry, guys. Bubba fixing to win this. To win this. He said win in 2 different ways.
To win this. Oh, good job, Murphy. I like that.
Oh, Eddie.
Well, this is to kind of tie this leg into your favor. Lays it up first. Grabs the 19s. Oh, he's going to go for a big one here. Finds a 9
Boom
for
goes
Bubba.
The dynamite.
He is fixing for a win so far.
Uh-huh. Amen. Amen. And look at that. Rick Henze says, you're probably still going to win this leg, but that was cool, huh? And that was cool.
It was cool. And here's the thing. Yeah, this is a break of throw, but Rick did not shoot bad with his darts. I don't think he's worried because it's by far his best leg as well.
I love how Bryan
no mercy. First. No mercy.
And you know what? You have to point again, and here's why. Because Rick just showed you he can hit 5 bowls. What's to stop him from hitting 6 and taking a point lead here? Hitting that last 19 actually makes it impossible for Rick to have gotten the point lead. And then he closes the 19s because he's like, fine, if you're going to point them, I guess I know what I have to do, which is exactly what you do. You don't complain. You just close it.
You just take your lumps one way or another. 3-1, Bryan Bigham.
Yeah. 6.16. And that was over 1,000 points, 6.16, which is way more impressive 6+ average than a normal 6+ average.
Yeah, it's
That is
good,
in fuego.
good signs early for Bryan when your worst leg on the day is a 5-0 flat. And for Rick, though, that was some signs of life there. I liked how he played with his darts. He just went against a full force there. Not going to be too worried about it. He can bring it back within one leg here. Just play like that again. You can't expect Bryan to do that every single time, although Bryan probably expects that.
Yep. Troy's asking a great question. And we're just going to put it in American terms. Troy, we know what you're saying, but we're just going to put it in American terms. Any of the better soft tip players play steel tip darts. Can't find a match of Mike Maloney, Ram, or any of the top blokes that are in this. I can tell you that Ram just played in Las Vegas and did extremely well. You can actually go back and watch some of those matches. And yes, he is throwing his 9-gram darts when he's playing steel tip darts. Ram is going to be on the CDC tour this year, and as its top is going to be a very, very welcome newcomers. We get a boom goes the dynamite from Rick Henze. It was starting off this leg in fuego. Mike plays steel tip, and he'll tell you that, but he just doesn't travel to play steel tip ever. He for him, the money is mostly in soft tip, so he's going to stay there, at least over here. But all those other top guys, they are very good steel tip players. Rick Henze and Tyler can play some steel tip. I don't know. Does Bubba play steel? He has to in West Virginia, right?
I would have to imagine, but I couldn't speak for certain on that. I know Chat's got her back. Ask Chat that one. Chat, does Bubba play steel? You're seeing more and more players play both sides of the game, especially in North America, just because the opportunities are abundant now for the steel side of the game and the soft tip side of the game. It's kind of silly if you don't take your feet and dip them in the pond a little bit.
Nikki, I mean, just dynamite drop in with the now those are some desired stats. I mean, just dynamite. That's a chef's kiss of a comment. You're right. A 6.13 with over 1,000 points is definitely desired stats that I would shoot for. Look at this from Rick Henze, a 6.75. He says, what 6.13?
That's almost
I'll show you
like
an
a
impressive
coffin
6.75.
Trip
gross.
doubles,
Yeah,
some kind of coffin.
Is.
Yeah, Rick gonna bring this back here. Bubba having his first leg dip down does at least tie it up in case Rick somehow misses all three. But I don't think that should come into play
it
here.
Happening. The Juggernaut ain't happy with the 6 mark you put on him. 6.46. Rick says, okay, that was a cute 6.13. I'm gonna raise you a few points there.
Well,
wow.
And that's exactly what I was saying in the last leg that Rick lost was I don't think he's worried right now. That leg looked convincing. It looked just fine. And then he immediately returned to sender. That's exactly what you have to do. And it worked out well. Now you have to say, all right, let me get that break in there. Let me go ahead and make this even.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. And Troy, yeah, basically, if you play darts in the U.S. now, you probably dabble in both steel tip and soft tip, especially if you're a top player in the game. It's just there's opportunities for both now that didn't exist before, unless you're in one of those Midwestern states like Wisconsin that just really has zero steel tip around them. And they have the largest soft tip state tournament in the United States. By number of people that show up, and of course, and by population in general that are there. But yeah, they don't play any steel tip up there for the most part. Beer darts, which is completely different than steel tip. Same danger, worse danger actually
way more danger.
Way more dangerous. So they know what steel tips are because they use them for that game. But yeah, as far as actually playing steel, that's one of the few areas where in the country that it just does not have very much steel tip.
Rick starts off with a 9, follows with just a 4. I say just a 4 because in this scenario, Bubba could get a shot at these 19s, especially if he finds 4 on the 17s or 18s, excuse me. That's when you're going to consider a shot. Awkward blocker makes the shot a lot harder. He's going to have to get underneath it, move to the side, well thrown, but
now it's even more
in the wrong spot. Yeah. I like the cover shot on the 17.
That's a great
Good
move.
switch.
It's an especially great switch because he hit the triple, you know? Like if he hit the singles, we're like, I don't know if I like that switch. Rick's going to clear it all up anyway. Oh my goodness. Juggernaut is starting to run through some walls.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling just fine. Again, seasoned veteran of the game, 11 matches. That includes, by the way, season 3 finals. He got a 9-8 win over Gates and then lost in the double dip 9-6. Season 2 finals lost to Gates 9-6. Season 3 third place match 9-6 win over Kenny Doyle. And I believe also in a season 2 9-8 win over the third place match of Kenny, because apparently that says third on the internet, by the way. Never fixed that typo. Good job, Nick. And then a 9-3 win over Carter in a week 2 matchup. He also had a King seat 9-8 loss to Gates. By the way, he never lost to Gates more than 9-6. And then he also had a 9-3 win over Ram in season 2, a 9-5 loss to Ram in season 7, and a 9-5 win over Rich Sturbins in season 7. That's the Rick Henze journey. Those are of his streamed matches. He's played more, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. Hey, Finn, nice of you to show up eventually. Gosh, way to be super late. Shocker. No, I'm just kidding. What's
Our
up, buddy?
future chat
Hope
admin
you're well.
is late. What the heck?
Kasha goes thirth. Yeah, that's got to be the funniest thing I've
never fixed
heard in
it.
a while. Boom goes the dynamite. The Juggernaut gets his third triple of the evening.
That's his fourth.
Dang it. But it's still funny.
It was good. I can't even fault you.
And Henze's going to tie this bad boy up.
And frankly, doing it exactly how he should. Yeah, Bryan led up in the previous leg at a 4.25. This leg did just drop because of the Bulls right there.
Yeah, 6.8 though. That's doing it the way he should do it, dominating fashion. And of course, he's going to hit the double single to get it done there. 6.17. So the last 2 legs above a 6 for Rick Henze. Tyler Who is what he's trying to get everybody to say, which is really rude because, I mean, he's already handicapped. I don't know why you're trying to make everyone forget about him too, Rick. But that being said, 3-3 scoreline. Are you scared about your prediction right now with the way the Juggernaut's shooting?
No, and for no other reason than if I'm Rick, I'm thinking, man, I really wish there wasn't a break right now coming up, because your last 2 legs is above a 6 and your opponent's last 2 legs is below a 5. And the situation where at the beginning, after 3 legs, he was down 0.8 in average separation. Now they are 0.01 away from each other in average, 5.22, 5.23. He's not wanting to stop right now. He wants to keep playing, keep feeding the Juggernaut.
Boom goes the dynamite. Daniel already called it the firth. Or his fifth.
First.
It'd be fifth. Fist. Nine mark.
Nope.
Anyway.
That's not what we're doing to it.
What? Oh, really? That's your that's you're gonna make up for earlier? Anyway. Wait, what? Josh, what you talking about? Whiteboard tells you for outs. What you talking about, Willis?
Again, I think if I'm Rick right now, I'm upset there's a break coming up. This is again a little bit of a let off there.
I disagree.
But I fully expected a punish on that turn. Why do you disagree?
Rick is above a certain age where breaks are not just needed. They are gold when they get to occur. For a person to sit down for a couple minutes and just rest those legs, rest those knees, rest that back. And Rick is going to be fine doing so for a couple minutes. His arm's not going to get tired after that. He's still raring to go. But Bubba still blasting off to outer space. Boom goes the dynamite once again for Bubba.
The only reason I disagree is because Rick earlier said, why is there still a break if there's no interviews? That's all I'm saying. He did say it himself to me today.
Was that live? Did that go out live?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling me that information an hour ago before you made me sound like an idiot. God. I'm kidding. Did you mute me for that? I'm just kidding.
No.
Brian,
we just let everything go live when Will's not here.
Fair. Including an F-bomb or two, Mr. Durachi.
Been there. Been there. He was there for that.
The only F-bombs I drop are fair. Boom goes the dynamite for Rick Henze.
This is
The
getting
ninth
super
nine mark.
interesting. Yeah,
They're starting to really heat up. 6.25 again. He's above a 6.
Again, why would you? He is happy right now. He is living in this comfort zone. He is playing his game. He has 6 of the 9 marks. He's feeling really good. And considering how poor those first 3 legs were in comparison, yeah, he got a win in those first 3, but they were not very convincing. After that 5.31, 6.46, 6.17, currently on track for another 6. This is a good stretch for Rick right now.
Oh, look at this. Good first start. He keeps like flipping dart number 2 onto the ground. Then he has to readjust. Look at this. He's ready for that break to sit down for a second. Rick don't care.
It's not the I need a break to take a rest. It's one of those. It's just a little bit of a momentum break because you're right now. If you're throwing this high of a level, I can tell you when you get locked in, and I get it to a very much smaller scale. But typically, what you see with these pros is that their focus is unparalleled. It is hard to regain that focus, even if you do need the break, even if you do need to take a stretch, use the restroom, get a drink. It's still hard to be able to have that level of engagement right back after that break. As you can see, Bubba giving some stuff. 5.83 hits a big 7 mark with a last dart close.
Yeah, I think Next Gen's an actual great company name for a player like him because while he's been playing the game for a while, but he's now in that next generation of top dogs at this point with how he's playing so far.
He's on the radar a lot more than he was in the past. He was the West Virginia good old boy. He's one of those guys you travel to a tournament over there and be like, oh, I know who all the top shots are. I'm not even worried. And then you play him and you're like, what was that? But frankly, maybe just because some of his matches have been getting clipped out a little bit more recently, or just the fact that he's just been getting some better results in the last couple of tournaments, he's just proving that he is a very much top tier talent. But Rick Henze says, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, boom goes the dynamite again for the Juggernaut. But if there's a ill-timed 9 mark, it's right there because it didn't even get the point lead. And Brian's going to point first.
Yeah, I think he's only going to take 1 dart that's 15. Now he's going to because he's blocked.
Maybe not.
Yeah, he had
to
to
take 1, and now there's opportunity for Rick though. And now a 9 mark is very timely.
Well, that 9 mark helped close that gap back down. Now he gets an opportunity that he couldn't have had unless he hit that 9 mark in the last. Unfortunately, needed to find a little bit more. Tried to make it a 4-3 in the Bulls. I don't dislike that last shot, but this is again a returned favor to Bryan.
I dislike it for one reason. I think he made that decision mid-throw.
Oh, yeah, that's the part I probably don't like. The actual selection is good, though.
Yep. But that first start was snatchy from Bryan.
Yeah, I don't like this. I think you need to guarantee that close in the 15, and you don't. You had the point lead. If you get 2 single 15s, you're guaranteed to have the advantage going into Bulls. Oh. Yeah, you're giving up a potential game shot, but that's a big miss
that's a
from
gross
Henze.
First start.
Gets let off with it.
Yeah, he's gonna have to close the 22 at some point, which is even more annoying. So he needs the trip 15 on dart 2. Yeah, he's just gonna close it now, so you don't have to worry about that. That is the only way to shoot that and feel okay about dart 3.
Yeah, and dart 3, I'm actually almost surprised that he didn't go for a bull with how blocked it was. You saw the big deflection.
Yep. But no matter what, especially with the way Bubba's been hitting bowls, it's not been singles. He's been hitting a lot of doubles.
He's going to be happy about this shot. Just make sure to get at least 1 more bowl here. If you get close, you're happy. He's going to think, all right, let's see what happens. Strap in, folks.
Yep, game shot. Needs all 3 of them in the black. And if anyone's going to do it, it would have been the Juggernaut.
It would have been Tyler, let's be honest.
I mean, at least would have gotten better than 3. Come on now.
So pedestrian. Sean's hit a hat trick before.
Exactly. Did you see J-Rod had 75 of them yesterday in a tournament?
That's disgusting.
I said, that sounds boring.
That's not even fun.
Yeah, right. That's like not missing ever. Hey, listen, I've been impressed with Bubba. Chat, I know a lot of you know Bubba. Have you been impressed? There's 700, almost 800 of you watching along. We're going to take a short break. Trust us, you're not going to go anywhere. Usually these ads have Gen mounts in them, so it's going to be great. But we'll be right back after that. It's Sean and Nick. No Will this evening. Back for the conclusion to this right after this.
Right after this.
What are O-rings? Meet these little guys. O-rings are small rubber rings that you can place on your shaft thread so it won't come loose. Here are 4 easy methods to put on an O-ring. The tuck and roll. Hold your O-ring against the thread and with your fingers stretch it over the shaft. Simply roll it down and it's on. The knit and roll. In a similar fashion, use the point of a dart to stretch the O-ring over the threads like this and roll it down. The backslide. Place the O-ring over the back of the shaft and roll it down the entire length until it sits at the base. If the previous methods are too hard, you'll love the O-ring applicator tool. Fit the O-ring onto the top like so, then place the tool over the shaft and roll it down like you see here. This is hands down the simplest method and the one we recommend most. A fun alternative is L-Style's Gomu system. Put the small cap on your shaft and that's it. It's fast and easy, but each cap is one-time use, whereas O-rings are reusable and only $2 a pack. Secure your shafts today.
What is the purpose of the Vertex stand? This product is made by Winmore, and they have solved 3 different problems. Number 1, when you don't want to permanently mount a dartboard. Number 2, when you can't drill into your walls. And number 3, when you want to travel with a dartboard. Not everyone wants a dartboard permanently mounted into a wall. Perhaps you just want to bust out the dartboard occasionally to entertain friends or family. The Vertex stand is perfect because you don't drill into the wall, you simply lean it against a flat surface. This is easily the most convenient product I've ever seen that you can set up or tear down super fast for portability. In minutes, you can have everything packed and ready to go with you for your next darts tournament or a friend's house or even camping. You can lean this bad boy up against a tree. On top of all of that, I love the idea of being able to easily travel with a dartboard. This thing is awesome. I was given it just to review, but believe me when I say it is not going back to A to Z Darts. They can try to pry it out of my hands.
Your opportunities have come and gone. Nail in the coffin.
And this is what we're talking about. He has that 6th gear that you just said.
To think this could all come down to a couple darts, a handful of darts in the end. And he gets it done under the ultimate pressure.
Let me tell you about A to Z Darts. We're a specialty dart store with over 10,000 different products. We create in-depth videos and blogs to help improve your game and showcase our products. We give helpful advice on how to practice darts, the fundamentals of form and mechanics, and how to make better decisions when purchasing your darting equipment. Whether you're brand new or a seasoned player, we try to provide fun and informative content. I'm Jen, the creative director for A to Z Darts. I've been playing for over 10 years, and I've traveled the world competing in and promoting the sport. This is Will. He runs our live streaming company, USA Darts, and travels the globe as well to broadcast major darting events and interview PDC players alike. You'll find over 2,000 different sets of darts on our website. Guessing right now you're pretty interested in our resources? Learn about form, throwing mechanics, practice routines, scoring and grouping, checkout methods, cricket strategy, and much more. Visit a-zdarts.com to take advantage of our blog or follow us on social media at AZDarts today. A great practice routine for beginners is one that I call the Game of 9. This routine helps out Asian and American folks who religiously play the game of cricket, where not every dart counts. You have to hit the cricket segments to gain marks, otherwise you score nothing. So if you're averaging, let's say, 2 marks per round or less, I think this is the practice routine for you. The object of the game is to throw 9 darts in a row in the entire 20 segment. Now the full pie counts, including the doubles and the trebles. Once you complete 9 darts in a row at the 20, you move on to the 19 and so on until you get all the way to the 15. If you mess up, don't start your count from the beginning, just start the count over on that given number. Now after the 15 segment, we don't expect you to hit bullseye 9 times in a row. That's professional standard. Instead, aim for at least 1 mark per round 3 times in a row. The purpose of putting yourself through this drill is to prove that you're skilled enough to be aiming for the trebles and doubles in the first place by completing this routine easily. Because if you can't throw 9 darts at the fat pie 20 segment without missing into the 5 or 1, then you really should be working on your overall grouping in this big pie as a beginner to increase your chance of hitting it, as this gives you more room for error and it will increase your cricket average. And 501 lovers out there, you can also use this routine to improve your setup shots. Just start with the 1 and work your way up. I can't tell you how many times I've seen professionals miss the easy big pie segment to set up their double out. So that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoy the reality check.
Test telephone switch to arm light on.
Switching command to internal. Fuel tank pressure. 9, 8. Ignition. Main stage. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Fuel tank pressure.
Welcome back to night 2, week 2 of the CSC Challenger Series Division 1 matchup. Rick Henze, Bryan Bigham. And have you heard of dart O-rings? They're tiny rubber rings that prevent your dart shafts from getting loose in the barrel. Learn how to apply them to your darts and shop all. Wait, is now not a good time for a ad read?
No, it's a great time. I was just like, I
just figured we're still in the
playing
we're
along
still
with
in
your
the
bit.
thing, you know.
No,
I thought that we still wanted to do it, you know. Oh,
no.
you're just like
I was
you don't know what they
like,
are. Okay,
oh, what?
I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
anyway,
take
if you
it from
ever are
top.
like, if you're ever like, oh my gosh, why do these shafts continue to get loose? It's the most annoying thing ever. I basically have to twist them every time I come back from the line. And then sometimes I throw it and then I don't know how loose it is. And then it feels really bad in my hand, but I'm already like too far late into the backswing. And now I just wasted that dart. So great. Well, you can fix that. That's what O-rings are. They're the tiny rubber rings that prevent your dart shafts from getting loose in the barrel. You can learn to apply them to your darts and shop all O-ring options with A to Z Darts. Just tap the banner on their website over a-zdarts.com. I'm Sean Green, joined by Nick Teixeira. Nick, 4-3 lead here for Bigham. Henze has shown some signs of brilliance with a few legs above a 6, but it's really been Bubba that's been impressive overall.
Yeah, I would have to say that Rick definitely was still in the thunder for the last few legs there, but Bryan started off just right to the point where I'm like, all right, we're going to be strapping in for a long matchup here. They're both having enough of their game show up tonight where it's going to be interesting. And I got to tell you, O-rings, probably my favorite thing to order. Actually, the only thing I'm probably willing to eat at a Burger King.
That's called an air ball, Nick. That's what the kids would say nowadays.
Do you know why Do you know why I started using O-rings? By the way,
it was
stop bullying me.
It was the equivalent. It was the equivalent to cricket sounds.
You can just stop. You can literally just
like old school cricket sounds. That's what cricket, like those sounds. That's
Do you
what
think crickets are like Pokemon? They say their own name. What does that mean?
The cricket that just said that did. I'm sorry that he speaks English. It's Jiminy. What do you want me to do about it? Yeah, that one.
Well, let me tell you, I used to throw some darts. So this is back to the O-rings. Screw you, Sean Green. And when I first got into darts, my dad's like, "Oh, you have trouble with your dart shafts getting loose?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here's some Loctite." Let me tell you, when that dart shaft eventually broke, we couldn't get it out. And then when someone tried to drill it out, the threads got permanently damaged and I had to get new darts.
Dude, there's got to be at least half the dart community that has a story of gluing a shaft into the barrel. I've done that. Totally did that. That is one of the first mistakes I ever made in darts. And then, but like it was bad glue is what I used, thankfully. So like I was able to get the shaft out. But like it left like that residue grossness for like the entire rest of the dart.
See, I learned that Loctite was a very accurate branding.
Yeah, it locks it tight. Yeah.
It was. I had to get new darts, and so that's why I use O-rings, or occasionally, and I believe this is also on A to Z's website, I like the L-Style Gomu product as well, which is like a fitting tape product.
Yep, you're not wrong. Actually, in some like L-Style or Cosmo shafts, like the higher end ones will come with built-in O-rings already on the shafts ready to go, which I always appreciate.
I bet they appreciate
Reagan,
you too.
not you. Your dad was smart in the dart community. We didn't have dads that were in the dark. Oh, wait. I didn't have a dad in the dark community to teach me the right thing. Nick's dad is Dominic DeShera. So, he's just playing practical jokes on his son for fun.
No, he likes a good deal. He did it too.
Or he just didn't know either because he's wise, or he's old, not wise. That's how I would describe Dom.
He's sometimes a little bit of both. This is a interesting shape up towards the end of this leg, just because Bryan has an opportunity. See, I wouldn't have mind after that double bowl to consider the look, but he does end up pushing it by finding 4. Rick just needs to make sure to really cement this lead, nail the trip 20.
That'll do that. Yeah, and he's just gonna go there all day. I like it. Where's Kenny Windsor? We need to get his daughter out of the chat.
Is she roasting us?
She's going sideways on us.
As she should. Double bowl to get the point lead.
I threw that last dart pretty quick. I don't know. Just kidding. It was the lag on the camera, guys. Rick, just going to try and hit 3 great ones. Does it in 2. 4-5 defeats a 4-5 when the 4-5 goes first. And we have a 4-4 score line. And weirdly, that whole thing made sense when you really think about it.
It did make sense, but I got lost, and I know what you're talking about. By the way, for those that are curious, at the halftime, Rick Henze did actually start getting ahead of Bryan in average at a 5.28 to Bryan's 5.21. So pretty curious to see how this goes. Like, so again, considering that Rick has a game below a 4, that says a lot about how strong those last 4 were.
Wow, that was flighted to death on Dart 2. Like, that was a shocking Dart 2 flight. He had to have released that dart weird. By the way, if your dart is flighted really badly, you threw a bad dart. You did not get unlucky. I need you guys to all know that. Most of the time, you do not get unlucky with that. You threw a bad dart. You find that out when you start playing steel tip really quickly.
On the average throw, yes. Now, there is times where you can play for specific deflections when you're at this level.
Oh, for sure.
You're at, and then sometimes it just doesn't do quite the way you would expect it to, and that's when it could be in the unlucky category. But look at that. There was no dynamite.
Luck.
All skill.
BB gets a B, goes the D, and we're at 11 nines. Notice I said 11 nines, not what you're thinking, Nick. We're not talking about a date night topic. It's been forever. I had to bring it back one day. By the way, do you remember archives?
Yeah. So do you want to hear something funny? I was thinking about that today.
Was it because you were looking back at the archives and saving some stuff?
Yeah, well, I decided to start saving some stuff. So now I decided to go ahead and make a public free repository that's not monetized that I'm going to start uploading that to. And it's just there to help preserve the Dart history. And it's called the Dart Archives.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. Will's going to sue you. But boom goes the dynamite, Rick Henze.
His ace of the night.
That's adorable.
Because like the Dart Archive would have made more sense, but I had to make archives. Yeah. I had to make that part plural. I couldn't not.
You couldn't even say it wrong. You just said archive again instead of archive.
Guys, I miss Willionaire. Where's he at?
Do you want to be a Willionaire? So, I thought you were going to sing that part.
Oh,
bad.
I thought for some reason I went to do you want to build a snowman? I went in a completely different direction. I went Frozen.
Like
Edward
froze
asking,
in the moment, or
Edward asking, does anyone know if Bryan is throwing Mike Porterfield flights tonight? I do believe he is. I know that in PA they actually did an exchange because I think he was already throwing with Porterfield flights. And then he ended up
that's adorable.
Getting the last color that he needed to match. So he got the yellow flights from him, and they did a little trade after playing on stream against each other.
Mike Porterfield's so cute. Underrated cutie, you know? Just an adorable human being.
I thought you used to call me that.
Well, used to is a strong part of that sentence. All right, Bryan, going to step up here looking at the 16s or 15s.
Joshua asking, is Will somewhere designing his Gen 2 barrels? He would have to sell Gen 1 first.
Meaning like he would have to sell Gen mounts, one of them first?
Yeah, you have to give it sort of get a set finally. She's in the warehouse.
Why
just
weren't
grab
gens
one.
just called the Gen 1? Why weren't gens called the Gen 1?
Why weren't that missed opportunity? But not that one.
Because then, no, that's a big niner. You threw a niner in there. It's calling from a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, 9 marks now for Rick Henze.
You mean like stop the stream? Will? We're in the middle of we're throwing fire right now at each other. It's great.
Well, actually, these guys are throwing fire at each other. We're just throwing some air balls. That's a callback.
Steve's throwing 9.8. Rick, last game he's going to throw a 6.32, and if that happens, Steve, I'm going to need that almanac you stole from the future. Okay.
Back to the Future.
From the Dart Archive. Dart channel.
Ooh, doesn't get the game closed. Does find 2 balls on the turn, so it shouldn't be of consequence. But Bubba, if you nail 6, you're going to be like, just maybe. But that's a big ask. But he's up for the big task.
You know what? I take that all back. Jen can still do it. She can do the Alpha Barrels, or sorry, the Omega Barrels Gen 2 with the Gen spelled Jen.
Be gentle with my heart.
Barrels. Yeah.
That's a big blocker. Bubba, not much you can do now. Even if there's, there was no way he could really find a double-double. Just throws up a trip, an average saver at the last.
And then for the alphas, they can be the alphas. Will you actually buy these ones?
I have the steel and soft of the Will
6.14. You know what? It's actually a great dart, and we give them a lot of crap for it. The crap is actually because it's a really good dart, and it's just a popularity contest that people just don't want to buy the dart, which makes it all the funnier, you know?
If Will brought 5 sets to every tournament he traveled to and just said, hey, why don't you go throw these for a bit, you'd get people to buy them. I've been saying it. I think you win the long sales game.
Well, listen up, folks. If you're sitting there watching along and you're like, I could be the next Bubba, meaning a rookie to the CSC who is putting up a fight against a former finalist,
2-time finalist,
8-season veteran here in the CSC Challenger Series, and Rick Henze. Well, if you want to be eligible for major PPD events like the CSC Challenger Series, you can become eligible for those by playing in PPD leagues or daily remote tournaments, DRTs. Those leagues are starting daily, so get involved by going to dartstoc.com and checking out that map. That map will show any location of D3 boards within the PPD system, and they are always accepting new members, so if you're not seeing anything in your area, by the way, they haven't had me change that part in a long time. Are they still always accepting new members? Anyway,
Yes.
Have your vendor contact them on the website. So Jason Watt, defending state champion, just have your vendor contact them on the website. From there, players can sign up for leagues on the website. And it doesn't take a ridiculous amount of games to be eligible either. Consistently playing one league a week plus some others will keep a player eligible for this event in the future. Again, you also have to be good. Again, go to dartstoc.com to get signed up today.
Right now, I think Brian's in a must-win leg, and I would argue that for no other reason than Rick has won 4 of the last 5. And it's his first lead of the match, and it's getting to that point in the match where the West Virginia Wi-Fi is going out. And I think that Brian's going to be thinking to himself, okay, let me get this win in here. Let me get this big turn or two going in my direction. And kind of put the pressure back on, because if he can apply the pressure like he did early in the match, which probably was more self-inflicted by Rick in the first 3 legs, I think he's going to be feeling pretty happy with himself. 5-5 chalk match, play it from there.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I've never seen Dartitis by Wi-Fi before, but this is the first night for it, I think.
It is a brand new camera package. We do want to shout out the VFW for go ahead and getting this package. I love it when we see new places, especially in states that we haven't been able to feature in the past. The talents that we haven't got a chance to see in the PPD network playing on the big stage. I love every bit of it. So big shout out to them. And of course, something we'll dial in the future. Hashtag call Yepram.
And what's that post number? One more time. I'm sorry. I know that you have it in a graphic that you have to pull up real quick. It was 4 digits, so it's a tough one. And a huge shout out to Post 9097 for getting that camera package and putting it in there for the players. That's always really cool to have something where you're bringing together dart players and veterans, and that creates a really, really cool atmosphere in one area. I always liked playing in Legions and VFWs. I thought that was really cool.
Brandon Moffenmeyer says, is there a way to find all the recent champions of the CSC WCS? It's funny that you mentioned that as part of this whole Saving the Darts history thing that I've been kind of ranting about as a passion for the last 2 days. I will say there's going to be at least a written history page in the works right now for the CSC WCS to try to help digitize some of that information so people can access it without having to just go back through individual feeds, including trying to find full brackets and everything else that we can salvage for old information. So soon. If you want a specific one, let us know.
Yep. Well, boom goes the dynamite again. They are blasting off to outer space tonight on these 9 marks. Last week combined, they had 8. And they're at 14 this evening.
But they were
Rick
not
surpassed
pushed.
that on his own, correct?
Rick's at 10 right now to Brian's 4. Brian probably crushing in the 7 mark department, though. If I would have to
This
guess,
is
I
a
would
better
double check
timed
him.
one. Oh, he bailed out for the 7 mark instead of the 9. What are you doing, Bubba?
He's shooting a smart shot because now Rick can't get the point lead and close the 20s. Good shot.
That's great and everything, but we're in this for the fans, man. Actually, boom goes the dynamite for that great shot. That was actually a perfectly. It was the right shot to do there. 100%.
But you talk about those 9 marks from week 1. Again, when you have a 9-1 win, you're not pushed in the same way that this match is clearly pushing both of them with the neck and neck averages. And frankly, Bubba showing some struggles here in the last few legs that we have not seen out of him in a bit, but should be able to get the win here despite Rick putting up quite the effort on the Bulls.
Oh my goodness, a 5 again. Now, Bubba didn't get one bullseye in that last turn, so work to be done. Yeah, do you bail here?
Well,
he has been very conservative on pointing a lot, which
especially
is fine.
in the bulls. Like a single 20 adds a bull, and he last time elected to point first. If he trips the first dart, I think you switch to the bull. But if you only hit a single, I think you stay. And that was a dart of split mind.
That was definitely a split dart. And now he's trying to walk it up, and that's going to hurt badly. That might be it. Rick might steal this leg right here.
This would be a huge steal. If you're a Rick Henze fan, you're eating
down.
good.
Oh, now he can't.
Can use that as a marker.
Needs the double.
Yeah.
And does that.
Beautiful use of that second dart. No, that was beautiful. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. That was a real sound from Nick Teixeira right there.
They're all real, buddy. I always keep a 55th Street on the mic. But now Bubba gonna make sure not to make the same mistake. Does find the trip early on in this shot. Finding it again. Gonna stop the doubts and the questions in this given throw. Finds S7, and that was a good fallout.
Yeah, that'll work. If you're gonna miss into the 20 where you can point and make it so it's impossible for Rick to get the point lead back. He at the end of the day did what he needed to do when he needed to do it. That 7 mark was huge. So now 3 clear at the bullseye if he wants them. And I'd have to, if I'm him, I'd have to miss the first 2 to actually bail out on it.
Well,
unless it blocks like that.
Yeah, that dart's really awkward. I think you move to the side and still try to throw in under it. But if it's only a single bull, you don't stay.
Yep, and that's what he's doing.
Now you go ahead and say, all right, bail out. Yeah. Unfortunate. Single 20 doesn't
gotta be careful not to miss. Yep. And that's the other thing, dude. Then just it's so blocked that that's a wasted shot anyway, right? With only hitting the single. So but I think because of how blocked it was, it's still the right move. Rick still needs heck of great darts to get the point lead. Not going to do that. So another 3 clear, right?
Yeah, well, and because the fact that there was no game shot available, regardless of where his last start went, it's not as consequential because it makes this turn a little bit easier on the decision-making process. Makes it a little bit clearer of what you have to do.
Just got that news from Neil that Ryan Gervais wins 9-3 over Jesse Sherban. So Sherban is out. Gervais moves on. We'll play the winner of one of the loser matches on the winner side.
Rick's
Tyler Henze out. Sean Cafflish defeats the Wonderkin.
Oh, you're the Wonder Kid. No, I'm pretty sure I said Wonderkin.
Austin Braswell out, losing to Kellen Sperlin. That was definitely Nick's fault.
Probably.
Don Utz out as the hometown kid for Indy. Chris Champin will do battle with Mike Carter next week. That's a tough one to the loser side. And Bigham gets back on track. Ties it up. High fives all around the board. Race to 9, so might as well be a best of 7 from this point, obviously. That's the right thing. Good job, John Madden. And Rick's going to get the start.
Very concerning into the last leg, though, considering how strong Bryan looked earlier in it. It looked like he was getting back into form and then having trouble crossing the finish line. Henze, I think, was getting very unfortunate with the dart positioning. And I think Hot Dog Girl would even agree with me, as I see you listening right now. We know you are.
Hot Dog Girl. You just called her out right there just for fun. I love it. I hope it's loud enough that Rick can hear it too. Just so it just annoys him just to touch, you know? She's waving at us. No hot dogs tonight?
That was
you
all
now
me
have
today.
a rep. So I don't know what 9:19 local time seems like a great time for hot dogs. Especially at Carrie's. I've heard they're great.
I got a Korean dog and then a Lotte dog at the hot dog dispensary.
Nobody cares about your hot dogs earlier, Nick. You can't be the hot dog guy. This is all about the hot dog girl.
Hot dog, hot
Do
dog,
they call
hot
you that?
diggity dog.
Please tell me that you have the dart nickname Hot Dog Girl now, because that'll make my life. Because that's the worst nickname ever, by the way, and you definitely shouldn't have that as your nickname. But everyone else should make fun of you for it. Like, that's how that should go. All right. Now we got to stop talking to you. Bryan, a.k.a. Bubba, is going to step up.
Walking off the line,
Thanks,
trying to
Brad.
get a reset. I think with the fact that it's 5-5, this turn's going to be a potentially costly one. It's going to be something where you have to just kind of resettle yourself. I don't think he's as used to playing a long format soft tip cricket. And I think that's showing because, again, 5.29, 5.0, 5.84, 6.16. That's how he started this off. Well, then after that, he's only had one game over a 5 in the next 4. Next 6, excuse me.
Oh. All right, so here we go. This last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on to this conversation. But I think the next time we ever go to Carrie's Bar, I think Hot Dog Girl needs to have a custom-made shirt of the meme, but it's photoshopped her face there just for fun. I think that's a hilarious thing, just depending on how cool she is about it. Because if not, then just a shirt that says Hot Dog Girl in bright letters is fine too.
Can you use the hot dog from the old Snapchat filter that everyone used to love? If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I love that hot dog. You was always having a good time.
Hot dog. Doodle doo doo. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. It's a brand new day. What you're waiting for? I don't know what the actual words are, but my daughter loves it. All right, Rick Henze, 15s.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
5.5 in this leg is insane. Yeah. Of course, you still watch that. I know that.
I grew up when that show was playing.
I know. You're only 12 years old. I know that.
12 and a half. Get it right.
A 12-year-old would say that. You're right. But you also know what an air ball is, like you shot earlier.
Well, I almost made a joke.
Good comeback.
Kobe Bryant.
That was
I'm
a good
sorry.
comeback.
I was about to. I stopped myself.
Probably for the best, I'm sure.
Again, inconsequential league. What?
Even Mrs. Henze's in there. It has to say, ask me about my wiener. It's amazing. But like Jonah Hill does, ask me about my wiener. From Accepted. It's the movie Accepted, Nick. I guarantee you've never seen that one.
Never seen that one.
Brilliant movie.
This is a special tool we'll use for later.
Oh, gosh.
Back to the match. You can see Rick Henze
No.
three numbers
We should
up.
do that. We should do a Mickey Mouse version of the show for the kids. We superimpose AI versions of Mickey and Goofy shooting for the players.
I don't think we can afford that lawsuit of copyright infringement.
Probably not. Good call. Dang it.
I do appreciate that regardless of the fact that this is a lax leg or it's not going in your direction, it's very easy to start chucking up the darts and playing for your next throw. You can tell Bryan was doing everything to potentially try to get that dart into the bowl. Good sign for where the mental is at. He's not just checking out of legs, but right now momentum completely in Rick Henze's favor ever since really leg 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bubba's... It's almost like the opposite of what I said because I'm not an expert, right? Bubba came out and firing like probably high on adrenaline rush to get started. And then Rick started heating up. And then those back-to-back legs where Rick shot a 6+ with Bubba shooting well and Rick destroying him in those 2 legs. It was almost like a wake-up call to Bubba. And he was like, oh, okay, this is different from week 1, right? Where the person's not going to just roll over for me, even though he probably knows Rick and has probably played many times in this type of situation, just not here. And it really, until you do it, which I've never done, but it's got to be a different beast. It's got to.
Well, it's just self-pacing as well. I mean, when you're playing at 9-1 and you're winning that dominant, more than likely those legs were probably pretty short on average, meaning that match probably felt more like a traditional league night. I'll tell you, normal league doesn't feel like this when you're playing a high-octane match to this regard with no partner play and everything else. PBD doesn't offer singles leagues, right? So you're here, you have to stay engaged every single leg. It matters so much more, and you know that your opponent typically will always be at a 5 or higher, on average a 5.18 for Rick right now. It's a different level of mental fortitude needed, and something where you kind of have to say, all right, am I keeping my pacing right? Am I going up to the line a little too eager? Am I making sure to take advantage that I have the full 30-second shot clock?
You're right. You're absolutely right. And it becomes a pacing thing, right? Last week, his match was over by this point. It was 9-1. He had never played 11 legs straight in the CSC like he's playing now, especially at the high performance that he's being forced to play because his opponent has won 5 or 6 of those legs and has the lead. It creates almost an extra panic for you. That being said, Bubba don't care. But I'm going to go off in 7 market anyway. 6.33 right now in this one. All right. Brandon's asking a good question, so let's answer it. Serious question, though. What's y'all's favorite kids show? I already know yours. You're going to say SpongeBob. But do you mean all time or do you mean like current? Because like I have kids, so I can, I guess, talk about current ones. But all time, I have a definite answer for that one.
Well, what is it? Just say it.
Oh, it's Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I never actually seen it. Let me rephrase. I seen a couple of reruns when I was a kid, but like I never actually actively watched that one. That's actually a very based pick of you. I like that.
Thank you. It was either that or Salute Your Shorts, actually. 2 clutch Nickelodeon shows back in the day.
I think
that I'm sure actually sucked, but like for like me at that age, like it was the greatest thing ever.
I mean, that's you can't really argue that too much. I don't know. I mean, It depends on how young we're talking. But like SpongeBob was probably my favorite growing up for sure. I do think shows I watched when I was like still young, but not exactly a kid.
Rocko's Modern Life.
I love Rocko's Modern Life. That's a great one. Excellent recommendation. And personally, I also was a big fan of like Adventure Time, some of the newer age stuff, because I was like around 12, 13 when that was coming out, and I think that was a really well-rounded show. Avatar: The Last Airbender, again from that same generation of cartoon.
Yep, and those are just right after my time. So
Chowder was one of my other top ones as a kid.
Yep.
Back to the match.
Was a good one too. Hey Arnold. Hey
Arnold. Yeah.
Brian's gonna look like he's gonna win this one. Rugrats is always clutch. Although they didn't have enough episodes. Like I actually remember as a kid like memorizing that show.
I also remember that show scaring me. Like I remember sometimes that show would just be like way too like oddly detailed in some of their animations.
I just remember it was like the first time seeing a kid like walk with his feet like inside like Tommy Pickles did, and I remember like actually looking up like what the heck that was, and so it taught me a little bit about inclusion right away. So that's always fun.
That's really nice. Good lesson.
I actually don't know why I remember that right this second, but back to the match. Bryan Bigham is gonna make it 6-6 most likely.
Just has to make sure
Ren and
to cross
Stimpy was
fish
great,
the
but
bulls.
every once in a while it got too gross, right? Do you agree with that? Ren and Stimpy was great, but it got too gross every once in a while.
I don't disagree with that take.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Doug's clutch for sure. Patty Mayonnaise, Skeeter Valentine, some of the greatest like character names of all time. All right, we're gonna do a podcast now on this. Y'all invited.
Talk about this
all 758 of you.
Hey, pretty mama. Johnny Bravo. Shout out. All right, guys. Seriously. You guys, we're going to have to do like just a sit down one off shoot for this.
Angry Beavers, the most ridiculously named kid show of all time.
Never really watched them much as a kid.
It was so funny. All right, anyway, we're done. I'm done now. Are you done now?
Modern Era,
Maybe
shout out to
not.
Bluey.
Anyway. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's really just a kid show for adults to
That's
cry.
also true. Well, now we're at a situation where 6-6. We're looking tight. We're looking good. Rick has been doing a good job with the momentum.
I was really hoping that he actually would like toss that dart backwards and would have to like have someone go get it for him.
Or like hits the lady with the blue jersey on. Oh my God, my eye!
It can't hit the the queen of carries, the hot dog girl, though. Okay, not allowed.
Can you comment down,
She
you
is-
hot dog double bun simp?
What the heck does that mean? And I don't appreciate that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm also a fan. I just am trying to keep cool about it.
It's a living treasure there. How dare you?
I love it when we go off the rails, but like it's a totally different kind of off the rails than when Will's here. Because when you guys are here, it's like off the rails, but the entire chat agrees. No, we're on topic still somehow. But like when we're off the rails, it's like no, guys, we are far gone.
It's because our off the rails is like trying to one up each other throughout the evening, so it eventually actually crashes the whole thing, and everyone's just waiting for that moment until that moment happens, which I think it just did. Then we rebound, and now it's race to 3, and we're dynamite from this point forward. You know, no pun intended, because boom goes the dynamite, Rick Henze. Look at that call before it happens.
His 11th of the night there, after a little bit of a drought, is currently 7 ahead of Bubba Bryan Bigham. But Bubba averaging a 7 in good position.
Yeah.
I like the
This
spot.
is a huge opportunity.
But this is also one of the shots he typically doesn't take. I want to see him take the look after getting I wanted him to get a 4 mark and take the swing, but I don't think he was going to, and now he can't.
Yeah, sure can, and he hits it.
I'm surprised. He is definitely
for 1, Nick.
Well, I think
I'm
Brian,
1 for 1, by the way.
Brian nailed it in the chat, right? It looks like Bubba's starting to play a little bit more aggressive in the last few legs,
Yep.
probably feeling a little better, more confident. I wholeheartedly agree with that analysis.
Well, it's also you start to realize Rick's going to keep up with you if you keep the averages going. So you might as well start closing stuff down quicker, and not give Rick these opportunities, because he's learning, because he's gotten close a couple times to letting Rick have the opportunity back. I even like the move to the 16s there on dart 2. But he's given Rick some shots. Hey, if you hit this 9 mark here, you can steal this leg. And if Rick had taken advantage of either of those opportunities, it would be 8-4 right now. So Brian is learning on the fly how to play, and it's working out because it's stressing Rick Henze out. Rick Henze doesn't usually do all this.
And definitely how to play in this format in particular. To clarify, because I do think
Right.
he's adapting well, and then you're exactly right with your analysis. Again, he's adapting to the format, saying, "All right, this is what it's like to get pushed in here," and it's so important to get to leg 7, right? I get that 7th leg on the board, especially when your opponent's not already in that same spot, because that usually means you'll have an opportunity with the throw to get yourself to match point. A hurdle that is so hard to pass, and we've seen so many people stumble at the finish line of a long format match. How many big outrageous comebacks that we see? How many times have we saw someone lose 5-2?
Look at this. Boom goes the dynamite for Bigham. That was a Bubba boom. A Bubba Bing Bubba boom, is what that was.
All right, he's back. He's back. Let this man talk about kid shows. Let him talk about hot dogs. I'm in. I'm sorry.
I don't know. You bring out the best of me, buddy. Or the worst. One of the two. Probably the worst.
I think the worst. I think you and Will bring out the best in each other. I bring out the worst, but it's like just good bad. It's like, dude, where's my cards? Can't say it's an all-time great movie, but you can at least say it's good bad.
See, I think it's like going car racing. You're just waiting for the crash and burn.
That's fair. Or if you're my dad, you get to Daytona 500 and you hang out for 5 hours and watch 5 laps.
Well,
all the rain delays were brutal.
But at the racetrack, it's good hanging out every time.
That is true. How about to break the throw?
Dude, where's my car? Love it. Well, sweet. Brian takes a 7-6 lead. First lead since he had it 4-3 at the break. And what a time to break the throw of Rick Henze. Now, again, if Rick just holds his throw here, it will still go to a last leg decider where they will diddle for start. But Brian now in the driver's seat has the opportunity to lose a leg against the throw or with the throw and still get it to a last leg decider. That's huge here. Rick has to win 3 legs in a row to avoid that.
And with just a 3 mark, that is not going to be enough. You feel like if Bryan's been hitting consistently 7s the whole night, this is a shot built for 7 marks. 419s gives you a clean look at that 20, and it's a shot that I really want to see him take.
You know what I love?
The opportunity.
Working with you and traveling around the country the most is that
Like
I can
Cologne.
do things and remember things like Lauren Ivers, aka the Niagara Falls Women's Champion, is in the chat here, saying, "Let's go, Rick."
So you're saying the best part of me is everyone else?
No. It's just that I get to know everybody else, remember these facts because I'm, calling these matches with you, and I have a weird brain where I tend to remember a lot of those things, psycho or not, and yeah, so it's fun to be able to do that. What's up, Lauren?
No, it is cool. And I gotta say, I looked back at some old videos lately for obvious reasons. And when I was looking back at some the archives, and when I was looking back at it, I remember I used to think to myself, man, Sean knows so many of these guys. Will, especially at that time, even more than you and I, knew so many players, where it felt like the knowledge was insurmountable, and there was an expectation that he would know if we didn't because of how much we know. And now, so many years commentating these matches, meeting these players, and going to these events, I try my best to remember each and every single person. But there are so many different people, and I can't believe how much that has just grown and changed, and how much I've gotten to meet and appreciate each and every one of you guys at all the different stops.
By the way, don't listen to Greg. Greg's just upset because he's still most famous on a live stream for getting beat because he was up and he decided to go all points on 16s, even though he just needed 3 bowls to win, right? And he gets himself just a nice little 98-point lead with all those 16s, which is real nice. Double bowl, trip 16 for the match and the title. Greg loses. So that's why he doesn't like me as much as you. And
He
again,
also just
I remember these things. That was back in 2018, I believe, 2019, something like that.
He likes me. That's all I care about in that sentence.
It is what it is.
Ron asking, what cologne do I wear? Winter Spirit Axe Body Spray.
What a child answer to say Axe body spray.
It's not actually Axe.
Oh my God.
I promise it's not actually Axe.
Versace Pour Home. It's like the clear bottle with a little blue tint to it.
No, it's actually Lagerfeld, if anybody's curious.
No, I'm talking about mine, not yours.
I don't care about yours. You have a beard. I don't need to smell nothing except that beautiful beard oil.
That is from Mad Viking. Mustache and beard oil company, and their beard oil is fantastic. Smells like my face always smells like fresh vanilla. It's wonderful.
Steve Marshall saying, I met Nick at the Pittsburgh Bullshooter. Now the PTSD sets in. All right. It's been a pleasure meeting most of you guys out there.
Will goes in back to the match, and this is why this is why we never go that far off to the rails, because Will's actually a professional, and he will bring it back in when he needs to, when he realizes that we're being ridiculous. I, on the other hand, with you, this is just a couple of buddies hanging out, watching darts, and having no big bad Will to tell us that we can't do things. So.
And then Rick Henze there that's fighting a 5 mark. Is that good?
Perfect. I stick up for you, and then there you go.
That was smooth. Interesting moment.
Did you question that? You're like, that was smooth? No,
it was not. I know. I was just trying to convince myself.
Look at this. Oh, another trouble would have given him a look at the 20s if he wanted to take it. He has been more aggressive at this point, but Rick in the driver's seat just needs to do his job from this point forward and should be able to get the job done. Takes a little step back. I'm curious as to what might have caused that.
I don't think
I hope it's Hot Dog Girl's phone.
I mean, he's been definitely showing
the
emotions one way or another. not like over the top, but you can tell that there was some head shakes on the frustration turns. There's a couple of moments where he's walked off the lines, or when he's hit a shot and he kind of throws up his hands like, where was that? But
You're right.
time,
How terrible
no
that
doubts.
was. Jeez. Awful. What a great 6 mark from Rick.
I'm just analyzing the data. I am analyzing the data. Okay, you take it. I see the stats. I tell the people how it is. That is my job. Your job is to be funny, man, talking about hot dogs and cartoons. Pudding pops. And no close on the 16th for Bubba. He gives himself a little bit of a clap there and just saying, all right, now I'm going to have to rely on the next leg. But he bought himself that advantage. That's the benefit of being up 7-6. But 7-7, when you have the throw, feels so important. And
Oh, sorry. He's laughing at us. Yeah, there you
is
go.
that what happened?
Sorry, everybody. Yes, he's laughing at you.
No way.
Way to go, Nick.
No way.
I guarantee you he just laughed at you. Look at this. And it relaxed him. He gets almost the close. Brian George in the chat, brother, you crushed it this weekend at Indiana State. Town is unmatched. You also are someone who gets to know the players really well. Maybe he's just laughing at what she did, which is even better. And then she walked out of the frame because it's still on her instead of on Brian, who is disappeared. He gone.
Where'd he go?
He gone. 5 seconds.
Wait, where's Bubba?
This is interesting. Bubba be missing. Someone go find Bubba.
Bubba be gone? Hubba bubble blue? Floated away.
We gotta stop. Rick's like, I wasn't expecting this. Okay.
That was peculiar.
That mind game didn't work, and Rick does take it.
I don't think it was a mind game. I think he just had to go.
He just had to go to the bathroom.
No, or he thought it was a race to 7 the other way around. I don't know what that was. He had to go somewhere.
No, I mean, the leg was over for him, right? He was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. It's fine.
I mean, it's a strategic use of the time, I guess. We'll see. If this is a really great shot here, I'm all for it. If this is a random 2 mark, I'm not going to be as going for it.
The Sean Nick energy is just slap happiness at this point, or just shock and awe from
what
Nick.
is happening.
This is way below. There you go. At least he finds on dart 3, which was necessary. Juggernaut's going to punish, but that was necessary.
Yeah, that's a potentially. Thankfully for Bubba, that second dart didn't go in.
Yeah,
because Hubba Bubba Bubblegum
kill
is in
shot.
some
That still
trouble.
hurt. All right, here comes Bubba, who now is going to have a new favorite commentator. He might actually be mean to Nick for the first time in his life.
No. That was correct immediately.
That was a good comeback, by the way. You just go no, and then fine. That was real firm on your response. Dynamite drop in, buddy. Rick Henze
You're welcome.
just needs a treble to go back up.
A little bit of a slow start for both these players, and I say slow at Rick with a 5.5.
5.5.
But considering that it was just a 3 mark open and you're against the darts, it's an opportunity that's almost a must take at this point in the match because of how important it is. If Rick Henze breaks a throw here, he wins the match. I will say it now. But if Bubba holds, I think this goes to the distance.
Will you calm down? They've thrown 6 darts in this leg. Like, give him a break here.
And I'm a professional analyst, Sean Green.
Well, boom goes the dynamite for Bubba. How about them apples?
He said, chew on that gum.
Reagan, amen. That's why you're my favorite commentator. And Rick goes,
And that same pitch?
It looked like he did. Oh yeah, for sure. That was a Rick Henze pitch.
Like
Hands
Rick
down.
Henze, the juggernaut goes,
I mean, it's not like he has like this voice. Like it doesn't like. It's not like he's like this the whole time, you know.
Like he talks like a pretty normal guy.
that 18 again, far off the margins. There's some darts going a little bit awry here.
Yeah.
Something's up because
And-
you take the break and then some of these darts are starting to miss a little bit. Is it fatigue? Is it something else on your mind?
We need to look at the evidence, I think. He ran for a mid-leg bathroom break. It's 7-7 and a race to 9. They've been playing this match for an hour and 45 minutes at this point, which is a really long league night. So you do that, and then you give yourself the stamina that you need to have to do this against someone like Rick Henze and compete like this. The bucket's behind him. I'm just saying there might be some stuff going on. He might be sore from lifting heavy buckets. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. Boom goes the 8 mark for Rick Henze. Dang it, I did it. Gosh, dang it.
That's a very monumental 8 mark as well. It forces Bryan to have to respond with a 9. Do you feel like even a 7 on the number downstairs, but you have to find something in your momentum to get it right back, because Rick is in a position and he has been in enough of these situations to say, I'm going to run away with this. And that's such an unfortunate second dart. Oh no.
Like it's still, until you look at the tip, it still looks in. That trip 17, that second dart. I was like expecting it to like ring, and it just didn't.
It did look quite nice. It looked like it was on target.
Rick can take it. Oh,
he doesn't, and that's interesting. Just because it's 102 point separation, it does mean that
there's no way Bryan will move.
It depends on where his touch is lying, though. He's having some weird deflections, some weird groupings right now. But I do agree the better shot would be to stay in the situation. Now it's no thinking about it. You got to find something. Gives himself a clap.
Of the golf variety at the very most. I feel like that was an underrated comment, but that's fine. No,
I actually did like it. I'm sorry I didn't react more.
No, it's okay. No, whatever. Just keep all your nice things you would say about me to yourself.
Okay. So back to the match. Rick Henze in last leg deciders on the stream, he's played 3. He's won 2 of them.
Yeah.
Lost 1 of them.
Okay.
So this is a favorable position. If he wins the leg here and Bubba brings it back, he's played it enough of these situations where I don't feel like he'll be feeling the heat in the same way. Clearly, you're seeing even more emotion out of Bryan than you had in the first half for sure. And for a majority of this match, there's a lot going on in this moment.
If Bryan loses this leg, I am just going to say that I think that my prediction ends up being correct tonight to start off with. And it's just because of the way the momentum is kind of shifted. Bryan is starting to struggle a little bit. Obviously, you can see that. And unless he needs to find it again, which he can. Of course he can. He has a good enough throw with the right mechanics to where he should be able to find it if he absolutely needs to. So it wouldn't surprise me if that does not happen. But I'm just saying, based on this, I think 9-7's looking almost a little bit more likely, I think, at this point than 9-8.
Sean, do you remember when it was not 6 starts into this leg, and I said I think if Rick Henze wins this leg, that he might win the match? And now you're saying that now? I was heady.
Yeah, I know you were way ahead of the time. When I say it at this point, it sounds smarter for some reason. It could be the tone. I don't know.
They don't call me Nick Stradamus for nothing.
You're right. They don't call you that.
It was actually my first commentary nickname ever given to me. Shout out to Jeremy Wood.
No shout out should be given to him. He tried to do you a disservice there. 8-7. It's kind of like when you guys maybe say "Boom Goes Dynamite" over and over again.
Stop
Jokes
saying
on
we
me.
made you. Can we stop
8-7.
lying?
Rick Henze. Brian, make me a dumb analyst here in this second, and Nick a dumber one for saying it first.
I want nothing more than this to go to a last league decider. I
know.
We both
Me
call
too.
this 9-7. Your prediction's still on. Mine is off.
Yep.
This is a moment though, but again, a Clevey 12 is not the situation here.
Yeah.
Is this nerves? What is going on
No.
here? If you're in the Bubba camp,
And those are way off the triple. This is I think this is a learning experience for CSC. I think that's the only way to put this. And I think if you've played in the CSC and you've had this type of situation occur, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or if you've played a long tournament, or maybe you have to wake up at 8 a.m. for a Sunday tournament and you had fun the night before and in the morning, like, you know what we're talking about here. So I think it's one of those things that you have to learn how to pace in these stress environments, because you end up intaking a lot of water and beverages more so than you typically would. I'm just going to say it.
I don't think it's I legitimately don't think it has anything to do with the aiming fluid aspect of it, but I do think the pace of just the mental fatigue that goes on and that long. Yes, if you're at an actual tournament and everything else, or you're playing like a back-to-back long format like this, I think that's a different story. But I will say specifically in this case, there's clear mental fatigue going on. There's clear frustrations, and there's again signs where when his confidence was back, it was clear because his shot selection was completely different.
I just think when we see darts missing the way that we are, it's mistiming at this point, which not now. It's not. Look at these. Gets the double for the single, but that'll do.
It's not over yet.
If you're gonna throw a flyer, that's the flyer you want to throw. And I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter at a certain point if you just let your talent and what you do every time with the dart just work and stop thinking about anything. Sometimes that can just find it in small runs when your opponent doesn't even think it's going to happen, right? Or thinks that it's slipping in his favor, and then you throw out a 7 mark.
The one benefit right now for Brian is that there has not been a 2 trouble turn yet in this leg for Rick. This is one of those things where he could have been buried by this point at a 4.33, and he isn't. And with the throw, he can actually get himself out of the situation. I don't like the look up there when you're. I don't because you just found it right in the good spot of the 19. You're struggling right now. Play off your dart that you already found. Don't fish for a new one in that scenario. You need to get comfortable first.
But I think you'd agree with me that earlier in this match, we talked about him switching to a more aggressive strategy was the right move.
Yes.
So I think that him still taking that shot shows that he's still confident in being able to hit that shot right now, which is a good sign. And it wasn't punished very much.
No, again, Henze is struggling to collect on 2 trouble turns. Now this, you drill that first 19, get that look for the 18's close. Doesn't drill it. Again, I don't want to see a look. I want to see a little bit of discipline in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, now you got to stay. It was the right shot. He missed it, but he shot the right shot.
But Rick has failed to walk through this door. This is a moment here. You're thinking, just hit at least a 2.
Juggernaut.
Get the close. Get the point. Start there.
Well,
it's the close.
it's already annoying. Yeah, it's already an annoying round, right? You hit the triple for single after the miss on the first start. You're like, really?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Now I'm bet I hit a single 18 here, and this is going to be wonderful.
He gets
the
That's
triple and saves
such
it.
a monumental last start.
Yeah. Huge.
And now Bubba has to stay disciplined again on the 17s, needs to collect these darts, needs to stop worrying about the placement. Just throw it. Trust your game right now more than ever.
When he releases at the right time, it is a beautiful looking dart. And it goes exactly where it needs to. That's sometimes just focus on that. Just release it at the right spot.
That second dart, he was trying to place it. That first dart was in perfect position. He was thinking, do that same thing. And he tried so much to think about that release point. You can kind of tell just by the way it floated down. Rick Henze can run along the bottom of the board.
Rick also smart enough to bail and back into the high ground when he needs to.
He doesn't have to
Forcing
take
Bryan
any
to
risks.
stay on the 17s for all of them. Nope.
He knows his opponent's struggling. He knows that he's getting away with his C+ game in this leg. And he knows that if he wins this leg, it's over. You don't need to take the crazy shot. You just need to stay focused. You need to stay careful. You need to stay wise.
And every dart that misses into the trebles is just an extra frustration for Bubba. If I'm Rick, I almost bypass the 17s right now.
I wouldn't mind it. If my opponent's not scaring me on those 17s at all, I think 15, 16 bull or 15, 17, 16, a shot like that in this situation does more damage than getting a 17 and two 18s.
But Rick is also a textbook traditional player. And also, in that situation, there's no reason to ultimately do that unless you're trying to kind of hammer something.
Well, you're taking the psychology and the fact when you're shooting the 15 or 16. The optimal shot is start 17 there because the goal of the turn is to get the close. But if you're saying, hey, I'm not worried that you're hitting that number, I want to leave it for you and start playing around. That's when those thermonuclear style of shots and strategies really make a big difference because it just eats at the person. You're not giving them incentive to try to take away your number.
Right. But in this situation, and in all situations, Rick is like the cuddliest juggernaut you're ever going to meet. So what I mean is he's a nice guy and realizes that his opponent's throwing a 3.25 when he's averaging a 5.3 in this tournament and struggling. And you can see that, and you're already up 89 points, 91 points, 91 points. And you can just play it typical. You don't have to do too much. 15s.
Breaking news. Rick Henze just messaged me before that shot and said, I should be mic'd up.
Well, nope. Not if you're going to be mic'd about it. That's not, those are squeaky animals that would make it. I mean, we've been annoying. We don't need to add mice onto that.
I'm curious what I'm curious what he is saying right now because it has to be some colorful commentary from the Deadman Darts co-broadcaster.
Danny Baggish in the chat. Love you, buddy. Asking for updates on the other matches. Those exist. Cooper Olsen over Steve Hennings. Eric Bob Zine over Dylan Steinke. Maloney beat Nick East. That one is old news. And nothing new other than the ones that we talked about earlier. But again, these are your last couple of days to enter into the sweepstakes and support and join us in supporting Danny and Truan and his family in their time of need. Truan was recently diagnosed with leukemia, and nobody should have to go through anything like that. But you can make those donations for Truan through the PPD sweepstakes. And Bryan tried to get himself right back in that, didn't he? Great darts, just misses.
What an important dart.
What a moment that would have been.
The opportunity, and it was well thrown. That one was on the wire. That was one of those 50-50. It could have gone in, could have not gone in kind of shots. But, man, it just didn't quite go. Rick's having some finish line itis himself right now, and Bryan's starting to shake off of this. This is still interesting.
I think this is just a texting Nick curse. You know, you just can't do that in the middle of a leg. It never goes well. but he gets it with the 6 mark there. But to finish what I was saying real quick, I'm sorry. I know that's a huge moment. But you can make a donation for Truan and Danny through the PBD sweepstakes registration and be entered to win a G3 ice dartboard from the 2024 Tournament of Champions. All proceeds go directly to Danny. And I'm going to update the number here real quick. $14,875 raised so far. Cannot thank you all in the dart community enough, but the more the merrier in this situation. So you got a couple days left. The drawing will be live, most likely, on Wednesday at the beginning of our show. Rick Henze for the title. Well, for the title of this match, and for me to have the title of perfectly scoreline predicted, 9-7 victory for Rick Henze over Bryan Bigham, who really impressed overall tonight. Ran out of steam at the end, which happens to a lot of players, especially in their first season of the CSC when they're playing their first big match. You are not the first. You will learn from that moment and become a better dart player overall because of it. And that's always a scary thought for someone who's already shown up on that board nicely. Nick's going to fix his hair real quick before we get on camera. And here we are.
Does it still look mid, but it was a great match. You're exactly right with Bubba. He's going to be very frustrated about how that match ended, but he's the kind of player that's just going to take that lesson, say, all right, time to hit the board again, and he's not going to try to make that mistake twice. A lot of potential within this season. Just unfortunately not getting the result at the end of this one. Rick Henze getting back in there. Moments of nerves. He started off slow. He finished slow, but the middle was what we expect out of Rick Henze and then some.
I just want to say I've not met Bubba before, but you can always tell the character of a person by the amount of the chat that's rooting for you that are outstanding human beings in the dart community, like all the people that were rooting for Bubba in the chat were tonight. So I am so excited to meet you when I finally get to. You're an absolute talent. And I can't wait to see how you improve in the CSC Challenger Series. Rick had to start off at 5th, 6th spot, something like that, season 1, kept growing into that role to become a favorite. I think Bryan can be someone who does that as well. But the savvy veteran gets the job done tonight. Rick Henze, the juggernaut, keeps smashing through the walls, and he's now in the 3rd round on the winner's side, which is a dangerous spot for Rick Henze to be.
Yeah, when you have someone that's that experienced, that plays at this high of a level, and is getting back to the game that we expect to see after a little bit of, let's be honest, a slump. I love to see that from Rick Henze. I love to see that from the Juggernaut in general, and a good showing from both these guys overall, showing why they still deserve to be in Division 1 as their averages. I didn't get the very last leg there, unfortunately, but right before that, 5.13 for Rick, 4.87 for Bryan. So again,
they were both way worse than that after that last leg.
They brought it down after that last leg, but they just had these like real low moments. And it just didn't quite go their direction at times. But it's one of those things where, let's be honest, if you plan on winning this season, you have to start shaking those bad rounds off or making sure that your good rounds are just that much better.
Well, let's just call it what it is. We're going to call a spade a spade. Rick can't play like that next week. He plays Mike Maloney. Mike won't let you do that. Mike will smash you to bits. The Hulk will beat the Juggernaut in that situation 10 times out of 10 if Rick shoots like that. Now, Rick had moments. The 6 that he shot after the 6-1-3 from Bryan, and then followed it with another 6, like 1-9 or something like that. Those, and I don't have those stats in front of me, but I know those are really close because I'm awesome. Those will help against Mike Maloney, but he needs more of those and a lot more of them. Thank you. I know. I didn't have to go to your to chat.
646 to 617. You were right there.
I know. Yeah. 0.02 off. That's good. So it's going to be needed next week against Mike Maloney, and Mike is going to be thinking, "Oh, I saw a little bit of the old school Rick Henze there. Win more battle, some win more partnership there, but that one's going to be a good one. We're not going to have it because we're not going to have Rick on the stream twice, and we definitely don't want Mike Maloney on the stream.
We don't know who we're having yet. We'll also say that
it could be them.
But I will say we do know who we're having for Wednesday night. We got Todd Wigman taking on Corey Beck, and what should be an enticing affair in that one. That should be a great match. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Thunder Bunny's back. I'm excited Todd Wigman, which you telling me this is, you just told me as if it was the first time, because that's the first time I'm hearing about it. My league leader still takes me to the wrong stupid thing. But that being said, maybe I can just hold on. Let me undo that. Remove, back, boom. Goes the dynamite. Did not finish it all. Anyway, we're on camera, aren't we? I'm just going to leave it alone. But Todd shot something. So did his opponent. So we'll see what happens. Corey shot really well, actually, week 1. I remember that. What did he shoot? Hey, Nick, you have that answer. Hey,
guys,
Nick,
it's been a great time streaming everything with you guys today. Do you want the answer? Do you want the answers? Like right now, we're live.
Well, why
like this is it. Like
we still got 400 people watching us for no reason.
Yeah, okay, and they don't want to hear. What was your question?
And I got rid of it.
What question did you want?
I was trying to preface Wednesday. We'll talk about it later.
No. Let's go ahead. We're already here. We're blasting off.
Listen,
we're having a good time.
You did it. Why are you talking like that over and over again? Corey Beck shot a 4.89. Thank you. I found it myself. To Thunder Bunny is, I can't find. There you are. 4.15. So definitely a better first week for Corey Beck, but. I've seen Todd Wigman in Division 1 before, so anything goes. Former champ takes on Todd Wigman on Wednesday, and I'm done.
You done? Well, hot dog, we're diggity out. Have a good night, everybody.